We are back. And I just realized I kind of have to pee. But that's okay.
Great planning.
We're already back on the air.
Great planning.
And you're listening to Captain Controversy in the Revolution. I'm Captain Controversy. Joining me is a friendly neighborhood fascist.
As always.
I'm stuck at his place right now, so I'm kind of trapped.
Bars on the windows.
In his layers.
Bars on the windows, spikes outside the door, you know. The basics.
I'm probably going to end up pissing on his computer or something. As revenge.
It's alright, this is a temporary setup. It's not the greatest, but...
But anyway, we were talking earlier about, the Elliot Rodger killing and how that sparked natural outrage among women in general, really.
Yeah.
I don't want to just say feminists. And I imagine it's outraged a decent amount of men, too. I mean, not all men, but some.
Hashtag.
Yeah, I did that on purpose. But anyway, I want to go back to talking about Elliot Rodger a little more, because quite frankly, we were doing better when we were talking about him than when we were going over the Yes All Women tweets, because... Yeah. Quite frankly, that's just old news. He's one of the most fascinating killers I have ever heard of.
Yep.
Now, David Gustav Thompson wrote an article on PsychCentral.com. He's a psychologist of some sort, and he said that when he actually wasn't shocked, he was horrified but not surprised. He's a bit scared to admit that what Elliot Rodger didn't surprise him.
Okay, so the guy's seen it all. That's
it's unnatural not to feel shocked when watching video of an intelligent, articulate young man relish describing his plan to slaughter all of the girls in the hottest sorority. Quotes.
Okay, so I got that part right.
But they become familiar in his line of work. He has sat in his office many times and listened to many similar sentiments expressed by more than a few patients over the past several years. There are many more people like Elliot Rodgers in our country than we'd like to believe. Problem wasn't a chemical imbalance, nor will we ever be able to isolate the cause hidden away somewhere in his DNA. This isn't a case of mental illness in the typical sense of the word. But his problems wasn't Asperger's, bipolar, clinical depression, or any other sort of brain disorder. His psychopathic episode, the Day of Retribution, as he called it, in which he killed 6 innocent people with plans to slay many more, was driven by a less elusive problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because of the intimate confessional videos he posted online, he had a 137-page biographical manifesto.
He's a pretty easy case.
He provided a valuable opportunity for us to more deeply understand the forces that lead to such a tragedy. So,
he actually left a trail. He didn't just disappear and leave more questions than answers.
This case is considered more extreme than most. No duh.
Clearly.
But it typically begins with a child being born to well-meaning, loving parents. One or both of the parents are kind, gentle, sensitive, and devoted to doing the best they can to raise this newborn angel. But often a bit anxious or insecure, the parents are dedicated to giving their child a different experience than they had when they were young. They aim to be highly attuned to their child's needs, provide plenty of affirmation, and spare their child the types of pain and sorrow that plagued their own upbringing.
Okay.
As the baby becomes a toddler, what do they do when the kid falls down?
Catch him, give him a Band-Aid?
Quick to console him. Goal of minimizing the child's suffering gradually becomes an ingrained habit. When the parent spoons the child some pureed carrots and the child gags, spits them out, and makes a face of disgust, what do the parents do in this case?
Get pudding.
Find him something else to eat. You see where he's going with this.
Okay, that they're used to being handed things, that they're... I don't know.
Yeah. These parents spoil their kids and never basically are like, okay, can't let the kid cry. We can't We cannot let them get disappointed in any... They don't prepare their kid for any form of rejection, disappointment.
Yeah.
Child gets everything handed to him. Kind of like the concept of, in the movie, when the guy always gets the girl, only this is much worse because this is real life.
Yep.
So... Yes.
This is the real deal. This is they grow up their entire lives with the knowledge that things always work out for the better, and there's rejection isn't really an issue, and just people just like them just because, just everything works out just because, and then one day they have to eventually find out that it doesn't just work out just because.
Yeah. And this is apparently a more modern trend in parenting.
Yeah.
And when you think stuff like this, do you really think that this kind of stuff really used to happen at the frequency that it happens nowadays?
I don't know, because I wasn't alive for it. I would question whether it's... As a metaphor, I'll use the rise in autism diagnosis. Where it's not actually that something is causing autism. It's not that, oh God, something that they put in the food is destroying our children. It's that it's being correctly diagnosed. It's that it's being recognized and it's being shown, stated, publicized. I think, yes, it's sort of the plague of our generation, but I don't think we invented it, if that makes sense.
Well,
it's more it's a bigger deal for us, but it's always been there.
But I guess parenting has changed over the years. That's what the psychologist is saying.
Okay, yeah.
Because it used to emphasize teaching children self-discipline, obedience, and service to family and community, whereas now it's more about okay, I lost my spot here. It became more about cultivating individuality, building self-esteem, and being in touch with our emotional, creative, and spiritual needs. So, you gotta be able to do that, but still find a balance.
Yeah, none of those sound bad, but what you said, like, there's gotta be, I think you need both. You need a little bit of both camps.
So ultimately, what do you think was the main cause of why Elliot Rodgers did what he did? What do you really blame, if you can really blame anything?
I don't know if you can blame. I think you can only explain, if that makes sense. I don't think it's anyone's fault. I think it's just a question of, digging inside his twisted, ridiculous mind. And I think a lot of it, when it comes down to it, is he didn't know what to do with, essentially constructive, maybe not even constructive, just criticism. He didn't know. He didn't know what to do with rejection. It wasn't that he got rejected, learned that, okay, probably shouldn't, why do they think that's creepy? Oh, that's why they think that's creepy. Okay, I'll stop doing that. He didn't know what to do with it. He took it personally. He took it very to heart that I've been rejected. I'm what's wrong with me?
Yeah. And okay. So I'm going to try to do a nice little impromptu little soliloquy here to end out my thoughts on this guy and how I can relate. We'll see. It's like...
Okay, just do it.
I have sat alone many nights and asked myself, why? Why is the world so unfair? Why do these people that I'd be so compatible with choose to, just be friends? Or why is the timing so terrible to where, I enter their life and they're already seeing someone and all that, and it's just like, but I'm not gonna kill them. I'm not gonna force them down and do everything that I want them to do, because then that just makes me worse. I'm going back at the world, but I'm not gonna make any friends by posting YouTube videos bitching about how my life sucks. I've got social problems. They were diagnosed. I deal with it. I see things differently. And quite frankly, I don't want to see things a normal way. What he needed, simply, if he'd just let some people be his friends, not just be so negative all the time, perhaps the right person would have come along. And even if not, I masturbate frequently. It's a good thing, because it allows you to enter a nice little fantasy world. You can either watch a video intently and pretend that whatever you want to pretend, or you can close your eyes and go into deep thought and just find yourself in a fantasy world that takes you to a better world. Like when he was, taking videos of nature and, the world's such a beautiful place. Oh! Now ruined. He let that one bad apple spoil the entire bunch. So, instead of fixating on them, why not just walk a little further down the beach? Find something you can enjoy. But he gave up so quickly. He was just a year older than me. He was planning this manifesto when he was a little younger than me. And I guess I just can't understand all of it. I mean, everybody of our generation, so it seems, Andy, your generation, my generation, seems to either A, have some type of diagnosed disorder of some kind, B, is on some form of medication to deal with it, which I swear at least half of my friends have gone through some kind of traumatizing incident or are on some kind of medication, which I've had neither. But they've all moved on from it so much better. And yeah, this guy had some different therapists. Okay, so I gotta go talk to people about my problems. And this therapist gave up on me. Now this therapist gave up on me.
What if he gave up on them?
Exactly. He just thought of it as, I don't know. It's tough. And rambling nonsense, but that's what this guy was doing on YouTube. What he ended up committing was nonsense. We live in a whole world full of nonsense. And now, what he did, he might actually be a dark hero. But he didn't even intend on it. Because if this Yes All Women movement goes out to do what they're saying it's going to do, which is be the final straw that finally, causes women to speak up against their attackers and report all cases of sexual assault or way more than had in the past, and society changes for the better, well, he may have done some good.
I wouldn't give him credit for this.
Well, it's like an indirect thing, but it's like, I'm not calling him a hero, but all these people who hate him, and naturally so, he, at the same time, it took this for you to speak up? Like, what were you waiting for? Now I'm attacking all these online activists. It's like, what are you doing in real life? Okay, I'm going to go on Twitter and remind everybody that I don't feel safe going to my vehicle in an abandoned parking lot when the lights are off. Are you sure there's never any men who feel that way too? I mean, because rape isn't the only violent crime that people can be victims of here. there's muggings and stabbings and getting essentially robbed, which can happen to men too.
But I think still more often to women.
But that doesn't matter. In some ways, violence is violence.
I know.
And we look at this in terms of gender, and all you're going to do is cause more fighting. Cause more men to not like you. Vice versa. Cause more women to not like men. And now we got men's rights activists feeling so attacked, and all they're doing is going on websites and yelling about how terrible women are. And making your own case worse.
Yeah, men's rights activists are the equivalent of not the equivalent of...
The baby you had to share his toy? No.
No, the ridiculous yes all women hashtaggers. You can always point there's that one of my slogan, my catchphrase, my mantra through life is there's always stupid people. There are always stupid people.
Always.
They will find
And that's
a
what
way.
this killing is caused. It's like, I just don't like all these trending type things anyway. I mean, I almost titled this episode Yes All Men, but then I decided, nah, yes, this man, because not all men, blah, 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 so many hashtags. Just a stupid hashtag war, and what are we accomplishing here? Oh, it's awareness. What I really hate are pictures of someone holding up a piece of cardboard paper with the words written on it. Look at me holding this sign, I've got courage. In this picture, which our people can't see, a freaking naked woman writing out, still not asking for it. Why are you exposing, why do you you're taunting us.
She's making a point.
In a very taunting manner.
That's the entire, yes.
She's being an annoying bitch.
I don't want to say it's awareness, but you got to get people's attention. That's half the battle. Getting people to pay attention to your cause. Protests don't work because one guy with a sign sits outside the police office going, "Yeah,
that's true.
Fucking stupid."
But people are so.
It's about awareness and getting people to feel something.
Whether it be a positive feeling or a negative feeling, in my case, where I do not support these people.
Well, yeah.
I mean, have some respect. Have some self-respect.
What if that is self-respect?
I mean, I guess, but... Well, what if I were to walk naked on the street and write down still not asking for it or not gonna rape you or something, as in, like, to counteract this, like, I may be naked and in a good position to just walk up to your naked self and put it in you, but I'm not going to. So I'm going to advertise that to myself because not all men are rapists. And it would be no more ridiculous than what she's doing.
Context is king. Context is everything. If asking for it is such a
it's an opinion.
It's an opinion, yes, but it's prominent and it keeps coming up again and again from Steubenville to this. Like, it's an active social issue. This is happening, and she's referring to that, and she's part of the movement. And so I think people more or less see her as, one of many. Part of the group. She's different. She's more extreme, but she's with the general opinion. And I think, yes, on one hand, it's no more ridiculous for you to walk around naked, say, with a sign that says, not gonna rape you. That's fine. But it's kind of like no one asked you.
She must expect men to stare at her, though.
Yeah, that's exactly why she wrote the words right next to her tits.
Yeah. And she's hoping that they read that. I would hope.
Yes.
Now, personally, I think, you're provoking us when you do that. So in an indirect way, even though you're not asking for it because it's not what you want, you really, really kind of...
No.
That's your opinion.
No. Okay, I get what you're going for. I get what you're trying to say, but the goal here is
you're bringing really
that shouldn't happen.
But it does, and that's the world we live in. You can't simply change that. You can try.
You can try, and you should try, and someday it will change.
We'll see about that. In our lifetime, I doubt it.
It'll never change if you don't try. I'm just saying, if you just shrug and go, that's life. It's not gonna change.
Yeah, I guess we all gotta pick our battles, because there are other issues that I care way more about. Especially, like, what happens to women in other countries. Stoned to death over, oh, I don't want to marry this guy who's 20 years older than me. Okay, well, we're gonna kill you. It's like stoning cheaters to death, or, alleged. It's like, I didn't even agree to this marriage, so I'm gonna go find a man that I actually love, sleep with him, and now you're gonna stone me to death.
And that's horrible.
This is comparing apples to oranges. The problems in this country,
the problems in this country, we can fix. We can push for legislation. We can call our senators. The problems in Sudan, you can't just call over there and be like, gosh, Mr. President of Sudan, you should really do something about that.
Yeah, I know. But the fact that we're complaining about our problems, like they're... our
problems are the ones that we're used to, the ones that we see, the ones that we're surrounded by, the ones that we can actually change.
Yeah, so I guess the male perspective is a little different. It's a tough issue for me, because I only care about the really, really severe stuff that they're tweeting about. Like the stuff that actually involves serious crimes. That's the only stuff I care about.
I get that.
And that's the only stuff that they should really focus on for now. Because then when you mix in all that little stuff, it kind of takes away from the meaning of it. Especially when people... Because it's like, what do you want to change right now? Well, pick something.
They want to change...
Like, can we talk about everything in 2 hours? We just got to pick a topic and go with it, right?
Wait, are you talking about our show, or what's going on here?
I'm comparing what we try to do in a period of time to what they're trying to do during a period of time, and how ambitious you can be before you're too ambitious and get nothing done because you're all over the place. It's like...
Yes, I agree there has to be some focus. I think we
had to end rape culture. We have to end double standards. Good. Okay. Now what? Double standards such as we get offended when men hold doors open for us because we can do that ourselves.
Yeah, that's
the pay gap. Reduce the pay gap.
Okay,
that's a good one.
That's a big one.
That's a good one. So focus on this. Reduce the pay gap. Rape culture. Those are the big two.
I think what it all comes down to is more just a respect issue. I think that's what they're... Not to put words in their mouths, because I don't...
Because that would be disrespectful. Okay, so again.
Yes, but just... When I look at this, I guess what I see is just respect. Like, they're saying, like, with the being told to smile at a bar thing. I don't always get respect. I know. But that's on a personal level. I think they're saying on a level of as an entire gender, as half of the population. It's different to disrespect a person for having a weird haircut or talking funny or just being dumb. It's different to disrespect women because it's okay, they like it.
People are so sensitive about this. It's like, oh, you're attacking me personally this way. Oh, you're attacking my gender. It's like, oh, people are flirting me at the bar. You're a bartender. These guys are getting drunk. If you don't want to get flirted at that way too much, try serving at a place that doesn't serve so many alcohol where people get hammered. It's part of the job.
But
you can make more money.
But should it be part of the job?
That's not... I mean, that's not the point.
No, that's exactly the point.
No, like you.
Exactly.
You bring this up.
The point is,
you become everyone's least favorite server. Oh, she's no fun.
The point is that at bars, it's okay, because it's a bar.
Yeah.
Because bar culture, it's okay, it's considered okay to, do things.
Then don't go to the bar.
That's not the point.
Find a different culture.
The point is there will always be men who are, going to these bars for bar culture.
But they just mean it in good fun. I mean, unless you actually, do something devastating, really, really hurt someone.
There's a difference between intent and how it's received. You can mean rape all in good fun.
So what, are we supposed to stop being flirts in all causes? We're not allowed to make our little jokes because some people are too uptight and they just don't like it? She looked like an uptight person to me in her little picture on Twitter when I saw that.
It's respectful enough to flirt with them as a person instead of just a rack with a smile.
Well, okay, fine. But I mean, you're being overly idealistic if you're expecting every single man to not do that. Like, it's not
I know, but I'm saying the goal here is a culture shift, and you can't just say, well, if you don't like it, go somewhere else.
But what's wrong with, what is the worst thing that really does? What is the worst thing about that to her at the end of the day? Like, when you wake up the next day, are you still feeling the repercussions from being told to smile more? How many of those problems would be avoided if you just put on a smile? Like, I'm required to put on a smile at my job. It's part of my mystery shop evaluation. Like, if I can't smile and fake it, that's part of the job sometimes. It kind of sucks, but it's life. When you're having a bad day, you cover it up.
Yeah. But I think the issue isn't that she was having a bad day and someone's like, someone's like, smile, you're on duty. I think it was, I don't know. We're reading too much into this. I can't speak for her directly because I'm not a woman. I'm not a bartender. I'm not hit on constantly because that's just not what we do. That's something that men do to women, and apparently women don't like it.
It gets tiring. So how are we supposed to meet them?
Oh, ask them about themselves. Do something.
No.
Do something personal.
Hi, random stranger. This is my name. Nice to meet you. No fun conversations.
There are better ways to go about this.
Some people don't know don't know how.
Oh my god. Just introduce yourself and get to know them.
But it's more fun to come up with something clever. And if you get rejected, you get rejected, so whatever. Some guys like the chase too, so it's like, if it's all just one big game, just play the game. It's not that big of a deal. In some ways, I just don't.
But if they don't want to play the game, they should be able to say no.
Well, if they don't, they can say no, but at the same time, it's like, am I able to simply tell my customers I'm uncomfortable with your tone? Get out of my line? No. So, I'm sorry, as a fellow service employee, my sympathy only goes so far in that way. It's like,
Alright.
Just doesn't seem like a pleasant person. Anyway, coming up in part 4, we're going to wrap this up with our nice little Yahoo Answers segment as Andy just sits here looking stressed out.
What? Oh, no.
You're just shaking your head. Like you don't like what I'm saying about all this stuff. So we're creating this argument.
That's why we have these arguments. Because we don't agree. We don't always agree, and so it's good to, disagree but do so with real reasons and real
We'll be back in 15 minutes.
Ooh.